let's get started. No PDA back there on the second row. Welcome. We have another competition night. We have a volunteer competition coordinator.
I'll be your Cody this evening.
Apparently, Verlin has something he wants to say.
Okay, so while I was away, we wrapped up the 2 shows that we were doing. Thanks for Clay for his help. But that doesn't mean that there's not another one coming. The West Pecan show will start again October 21st to November 21st. So get your prints ready because dates on calendar are closer than they appear.
Yeah. Thank you for the people that came and picked up the things at the library show. That we closed that, and so we're very glad that you did come. I gave Verlin his pictures back, and the comment from one of the ladies was the weird pictures because they were on the wall for a while. He has pictures of costumed people in various places and things with knives and things, right? Yeah.
It's different things. My idea was it's a library, so things might be book covers.
Yes, book covers. Ah, great. Well, I just as a membership coordinator, I want to thank those for your attention to the renewal notices that go out that let you know that August 1st is your renewal date or July 1st. Thank you, Nick, for joining tonight, renewing his membership, a longtime member. Thank you, Nick. And I think if you remember, the thing to do is to come in, check your name off the membership list, and then pick up your membership badge. So if you picked up a membership bag but didn't check off your name, you just might want to check. I'll get most of them, I think. But thank you very much.
Okay, we're all going to do fun things. Okay, so hi there. For the coming 3 months, our speaker series. Later this month, it's going to be Gary. Gary will be talking about Lightroom, using masks for dodging and burning and that type of manipulation of your images. August is Bill. Bill will be talking, he'll continue his discussion of digital asset management. He's got some more things to talk about that. I just wrangled Mr. Interante. Mark will be picking up a topic yet to be announced, but it will be a process type of topic with regards to Lightroom. And then that's September. And then either October or November, I'm going to do things like focus stacking and high dynamic range type of things, panoramas. So it'll be like 3 different things, about 15 or 20 minutes each. So I think that gets us almost to the end of the year. Yes, sir?
Was there going to be a lecture at some point on intentional camera movement ahead of that theme?
Okay, you'll have to remind me when that theme is going to be.
Oh, I'm not sure which month. I just knew it was.
It's November? Okay, so we'll make it in October. I can't do it in September. It would be, unfortunately, late October.
Yeah, I just thought it would be neat to have a demonstration because that's an area that I've never tried.
I because I've just started getting into ICM, multi-exposure with ICM, multi-exposure without. So there's lots of different things that could be done besides other stuff that I do. So yeah, that might be a fun topic anyway. So, okay.
I might arm wrestle that topic.
Thank you.
Anybody else got announcements? All right, I'd like to thank Gary for volunteering and also our 3 judges for volunteering, and it's Gary's show. Oh,
No, I'm your virtual Cody.
We have a 5th Thursday this month. We haven't figured out exactly where we're going to go, so might get Ed to send out a note to just remind everybody to come up with some input for just to I see Cheryl got a question on her face. What's
No,
Fifth Thursday?
I'm just listening.
Okay. So Fifth Thursday, just get together, hang out, food, drink, enjoy.
Okay. All right, I'm wired up. Okay. So, hi, everybody. So today's or this month's theme was golden hour. And so hopefully everybody voted, right? Everybody took the time to vote, we hope. So we're going to see the results here. So first of all, we're going to take a look through we're going to take a look through the set of images, and I will read the titles. There you go, right? One last catch. The sun is shining like a red rubber ball. Echoes of dusk. Morning at Shiloh Moon Ranch. And ocean sunset. All right. Judges, take it away. One last catch.
All right, cool. That one's me. Is the mic on? Hey, cool. All right. So this is a really, really pretty photo. I like it a lot. Things that stand out to me are the repeated arch pattern and the placement in the frame, I think is really good. The color on the arches really amplifies the actual theme of the competition, which I think is a really good touch. You can clearly see that it's golden hour. There's a story and impact with the men in the boat or the people in the boat, giving a little bit of a subject and a little bit of dynamicness to the content. I like that they're mirrored by people in the sort of top right in additional boats. So there's a tiny bit of like parallelism in this photo that gives me a little bit more reason to explore more of the space from a story perspective. A couple things stand out to me that I think could be interesting to play with. To tighten the image, I find the top left corner is so close to being blown out that I would like that to be a little bit darker, but also I find the building kind of contradicts the content of the image. So what I played with when I looked at this was actually cropping it down to a panorama to minimize the sky and building presence so that they don't take up so much room for my eye. I could crop all the way down, or we could crop all the way down to the tree line so they're gone, but then that gets rid of some of the arches and some of that content in the foreground. So maybe a little bit above that, but that's one opportunity I see to play with this image that I think simplifies it, gives a little bit more attention to the subject. But overall, I think it's a very successful image and it's really great to look at. So great job to the maker.
All right. The sun is shining like a red rubber ball.
That's mine. This is a beautiful shot. As far as the title, it seems to me like a early morning cityscape. I like the eyes going from the skyline to the sun. Beautiful colors in the sky. Nice shot of the skyline. The sun coming out behind the trees is great. The foreground is dark, keeping distractions out of sight. And my eyes is going from the left to the right, pinging I was looking at the sun. Technical thoughts. Few things to go is a tighter crop, more of a panoramic, like a 16:9, to remove some of the background and some sky and making the horizon out in the center of the picture. From the clouds, there's like little banding from the clouds from post-processing. Great shot.
Good. Echoes of dusk.
All right. This is a very eye-catching image because of the very saturated color palette. I think that it's good that the focus, that everything's in focus from the foreground to the background. And that was achieved, I think, by using a wide angle lens. The aperture wasn't stopped down that far, but you still get a good depth of field, which is nice in landscapes to have the foreground, middle ground, and background all in focus. In this case, I'm not sure that the foreground adds as much to the picture. Here, we're really looking at the colors in the sky and how they're reflected in the water and the silhouette of the trees. And something that might work well in this particular image, well, as the image is taken, perhaps cropping some of the foreground out and just having the middle and the back so that it really focuses on the colors of the sky and the reflections in the water. Just because I'm not sure that the foreground is particularly interesting in this one. The other thing, when you're taking the picture, it may be that by moving down a little bit or moving over, you could get something that was particularly interesting in the foreground that would improve the picture. But in this case, I was just thinking if you maybe crop some from the bottom and made this into a landscape orientation, where you would have all the sky, which is the main focus in this case, and that might elevate the composition a little bit. It would be something to try, but the colors are great. It's very striking to see, and so I think that it's a very nice image.
All right. Morning at Shiloh Moon Ranch.
This is a very familiar scene for anybody who grew up in Texas. It's really great to see. I think the theme again really shines in this image. You got a clear band of gold across the middle, which references golden hour really cleanly. I love that there's a moon in the sky and the title of the image referencing Shiloh Moon Ranch. That's just nice. I enjoy that a lot. I enjoy that there's this parallelism of two subjects in the foreground. There's the cow and then the tree. I wish the tree is a tiny bit more visible, and I think that can be done with maybe a little bit of post-processing, if you're comfortable with doing that, or maybe getting a little bit closer to the scene, maybe a longer lens or cropping in. Because I do think that duality and then the moon up above is an interesting dynamic, but the tree does blend into the trees behind it a bit. There's a lot of empty space in this image, which I'm ambivalent about. I enjoy having some space to breathe, but I think most of the sky is not super interesting. And some of the foreground as well, there's a yellow band right across the bottom of the frame that catches my eye and holds it a little bit. So I think cropping in a little bit, and it's the second time I'm going to say maybe getting closer to a panorama. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I do think in this case that would help. You could also take a little bit off the sides, and that would bring the cow and the tree a little bit more forward. But I like the gentleness of the image a lot. I like the comfort of seeing, again, like a familiar landscape with the beautiful light on it. I love the richness of the colors. It's a great photo.
All right. And finally, Ocean Sunset.
Great title, like the color of the clouds and reflection and movement of the water, especially sun reflection in the water with the boat aligned with the sun and seeing the boat shadow and the sun. Great capture of a fleeting moment. Technical thoughts. The tree that is almost center of the picture is a little bit distracting to me. Possibly remove the tree. Number two would be possible cropping the picture. Looking at it, it could be a square crop. Removing part of the tree on the left side and cropping to the bottom of the center tree. And taking out or removing the other boat. Also either moves yeah, the horizon's perfect, not dead center. Three was I was looking at as a tighter panoramic crop, just below the leaves of the first tree on the right, to the bottom of the last wave. Maybe some of the top of the tree could be left for a tropical filling. don't be afraid of trying different croppings. Great shot.
All right. So. Click, 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 click. And the judges' choices are. Right. So honorable mention for Jerry Murphy and sunrise or morning at Shiloh Moon Ranch. All right. Third place, Tim Levin, Ocean Sunset. I don't know everybody by face, so I don't know if Tim's here or not. Okay, thanks, Clay. All right, second place, Clay. The sun is shining like a red rubber ball.
Well, I guess it's nice to just think about going out and taking pictures at sunset, because that's kind of what we were doing. I had submitted a previous picture that had an airplane in it, but this was one, the airplane hadn't arrived yet. So I know from the screen it's very difficult. You can't see the outline of the city. There's Austin city skyline there. But at least when I was thinking about Red Rubber Ball, I heard that song in my head when I was looking at this, the 60s song about the sun is shining like a
he's going to start singing.
rubber ball. Don't do it. Okay. Well, thanks for the appreciation.
Cool. All right, and first place, Flora Owen, Echoes of Dusk. All right. All right.
Beginner's luck. This is my first picture I've entered, and I went to Inks Lake and just sat on this, it's a rock outcropping, and just waited and waited until I found just the right shot. I'm nervous.
All right, and what do the people say? Right. We've got bronze is Austin Lane, one last catch.
You can.
So this was just over a year ago. One of the times I got to go out with the Austin Photo Walkers. This was down under the Congress Bridge, for anybody who's familiar. I really liked the way the light was coming through under the bridge. And I go to this spot a lot because I like always seeing the people out on the river fishing and kayaking stuff. So it just seemed like a really nice spot. I thought it all came together pretty well.
All right, I'm sorry.
There it's
I'm
back.
touching keys I shouldn't touch. Sorry.
Quit doing that.
Okay. Cool. Well, thanks, Austin. There we go. Okay. Silver goes to Flora Owen, Echoes of Dusk. And then People's Choice, Tim Levin, Ocean Sunset. All right. I'm trying to watch my finger pointing here. All right, let's try intermediate. And we're going to go to here and here. And all right, brief survey. Through the Clouds, Sunrise Flight, Sunset at the Coxcomb, Anchored in Amber and Rose, Bitter Lake National Wildlife Refuge Dawn, A Dachshund Dreams of Longer Legs, Sunset After the Rain, Fields of Gold, and Lometa is a Real Place. All right. We're not doing that. Hold on. Get over here. All right. All right, judges. Through the clouds.
All right. This is a, beautiful capture of the sunbeams coming through the clouds, with a lone raptor, flying over the landscape. Putting the landscape and the bird in silhouette works really nicely here. It makes them look very sharp against the background, and the background is really a big portion of this image. It works well to have the horizon line with the landscape at the very lower portion of the image and give, that makes a more dynamic picture. Having the bird is captured near one of the third intersections, which is a good spot to give this whole image some life and some movement in it. And the way that the sunbeams are captured and it works really well and this light color, the yellows and oranges and stuff, works well for our theme of golden hour. But these sunbeams coming through give a very dynamic feel to the sky, and then they also tend to give some leading lines towards the bird. So there's just a lot of things in this that work very well, and I think it's a beautiful photograph, and that it's executed very well and makes a good composition.
Right, sunrise flight.
So this photo has a ton of impact. It's brilliant, bright. The color is very rich. It rewards me immediately for looking at it. Similar to the last photo, everything being in silhouette is softer, so we get to see them, we get to explore them, but they're not like so demanding of attention, and there's nothing distracting about anything in this photo. Nothing is right on the midpoint line, so there's room above the town, above the buildings. In the sky, the birds are sharp and in focus, which is really nice. I learned from Ty that these are ibises. I did not recognize them, but that's pretty cool. The sun reflection in the water is awesome. This kind of reminds me of like a childhood diorama where you like do the cutouts of cardboard in front of each other to create that sense of 3D. So it has this weird juxtaposition of 2D and 3D for me. And everything about the composition is laid out like a painting to me. And so it feels super, super intentional. The mist softens the buildings further, which gives more mystery to me. So there's a hint of story, just a really rich photo that rewards a lot of time spent. I tried hard to think of any suggestions, and the only thing I could think of is, and I don't even agree with myself, but maybe playing with one foreground element to break up the photo, because at the moment it's so cohesive that in a way, like I can walk away from it and I feel like I'm done. And if there was something that was itchy or had friction, then that might create like a mystery or a question that's unanswered. But then you'd lose that sort of perfect painting composition. So I'm not sure that's a good suggestion, but it's an idea. That's it. Great photo.
All right. Sunset at the Coxcomb.
That's mine. Great title, beautiful capture. The depth of field is everything is in focus. Beautiful on that. The detail in the shadows and highlights is great. Composition leading the eyes from left, going across the first hill to the other summit, down to the broader area of the clouds, keeping me there. Beautiful capture. Technical thoughts. The top part maybe bring out more of the colors of the blue and the pink. The mountains maybe some dehaze and maybe a little bit brighter. On my monitor, it seems maybe a little bit dark. Think of more saturation and vibrance without other processing would be make it more, maybe a little bit more pop, is what I guess I'm trying to say. But the colors are always a personal preference. Great done.
All right. Anchored in amber and rose.
So I think I have this one. This is a really unusual photo, which really caught my eye immediately. I love the texture and drama of the clouds. I like the color palette a lot. I like having the masts as silhouettes. To me, that creates a little bit of mystery. I like the juxtaposition of the textures between all the stark lines of the masts and the rigging versus the more curvaceous shapes created by the clouds. I think that's a cool dynamic. It fits the theme well with the bright gold in the clouds. There's a couple things I would want to play with if this was my photo. I'd like to crop in. I'm going to say this on way too many photos. I like minimalism in photography a lot, and there's a lot of empty space here that I think we could increase the drama and the mystery if the mast and rigging filled the frame. So if it was just much tighter, and then that juxtaposition between their texture and the cloud texture would be a more dominant story. There's one line of rigging that goes all the way to the bottom right of the photo, and when my eye catches that, sometimes I get a little bit stuck. So maybe if the photographer had shifted to the right a little bit so that compositionally wasn't all the way to the very corner, that could help release my eye and allow me to move around more freely. And like I suggested in another photo, maybe one more element could be interesting here too, like a silhouette of a bird, which I think is, maybe a little bit cliche, but I still think it would add some life to the photo. Or maybe if there was a flag off of one of the other boats nearby that could intrude into the scene, I think that would give a little bit more to look at. Otherwise, if I'm not stuck in the corner, I do get kind of stuck in the rigging. But I love the drama in the photo. I love the colors, and I love the idea very much. It's a cool photo.
All right. Bitter Lake National Wildlife Refuge, Dawn.
That's mine. I'd like the title to give me a more of an ideal example, maybe an early morning flight. I know the title is such it's like hair pulling for me. The foreground out of focus brings my eyes to the flock of the birds taking off. The birds taking off my attention has me wondering where are they headed to. The background, I like it. It's out of focus, keeps the attention on the birds. The haze in the background gives a nice separation of the flock. Beautiful capture. Technical thoughts. Maybe a little bit more saturation in the grass. The sky looks a little hazy from the color from the distance. Maybe a little dehaze and color slider, maybe make a little bit more lighter blue. It's just thoughts. Great shot.
A dachshund dreams of longer legs.
Okay, this is you can definitely see what the photographer was aiming for with this title, utilizing that low late evening sun casting the long shadow of this cute little fellow. Generally speaking, looking down on the subject isn't as desirable as getting closer to eye level for a more engaging image. So there may have been a way to get lower and still capture the long shadows to see the legs. But there's many things in here that also work really well with the title and everything about this image. So the dog is looking in a direction, it looks like he's looking exactly at his shadow, like he is thinking about that. And so the way that this is taken matches really well with the title. A couple things you might be able to do to make it just stand out a little bit more is maybe darken the shadow a little bit so that that stands out against the gravel a little more. Then you really see the long legs in the shadow and the dog, but the exposure, the way this is exposed works really nicely, and having the glow around the dog as the sun comes through his fur works really well. So it's very nice, and it definitely goes with the title. So this one is number one for having a title that tells the story of the picture.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Onward to Sunset After the Rain.
So this is a really pretty view. Fabulous clouds, gorgeous colors. It was a great moment to be taking this photograph. The panoramic angle, which I guess I'm obsessed with tonight, really suits it. The juxtaposition between the dark foreground with the city in it versus the bright colors and also the soft shapes of the sky is really engaging for me. It's really rich and vibrant. The colors are great, the panorama's great, the clouds are really pretty, it fits the theme, the gold in the center really helps reinforce that connection to the contest theme. And it's just calm, and the fact that there's so much space in it lets that calmness really reverberate for me. When it comes to suggestions, it's hard to find any for this photo. I like it a lot. There is a little bit of city light stuff, a little bit of a structure that intersects the bottom of the frame, a little bit left of center, that it's harder to see on the TV, but on my monitor at home, it's right underneath the tall building, kind of on the left third. That could be cloned out and would clean up the frame a little bit. But like I said, I'm looking for things to suggest because that's something we like to offer, and it was hard to find anything. Great photo.
Right. That brings us to, go back over here.
That's mine.
Fields of Gold.
This one's what I'm doing. You didn't do it too, right? Okay. This is a lovely landscape composition. The lone tree and the windmill are, right on their third lines, their respective third lines. So the general composition is really works well. The yellow of the field and the blue of the sky, complementary colors. Normally, you might say that it's not as good to have the horizon in the middle, but I think it works really well here because you're dividing these two complementary colors with that dark line of the foliage so that you have the blue on the top and the yellow on the bottom as two big rectangular blocks. The puffy clouds in the sky really give interest to what would otherwise be sort of a plain area. And you have the clumps of yellow flowers at the lower part. So I just think this works very well in almost any way for a landscape composition. I think the biggest problem here is for our competition was this isn't golden hour. This was taken in the middle of the day. You can see the shadow straight down from the tree. Mm-hmm. So it's a great composition, great landscape. I just think that it doesn't really fit the theme of golden hour that we had.
And finally, Lametta is a real place.
Now this one's fun. Interesting composition. When I first seen this one, I was took me a few minutes looking at it. These interest with the multiple pictures with the chapel and the road behind it. The mountains, it looks like we've got moving clouds. Looking at it, my eye is drawn to the steeple and the road leading into the clouds. Also noticing the hidden car, the old 50s looking car on the side of the road on the right hand side. pretty much, kind of,
Okay,
got my curiosity are moving on it. It's, but for technical thoughts, the power lines, thick ones and thin ones, seems distracting to me. Also leave me wondering, what is that? What's it in the picture for? The other thing is the right side of another part of the roof in the corner. It's either cropping that out or removing it. This, I don't know what's, do not seem to add to the picture. But a very interesting conversation. I like it.
okay. All right. So here, and let's see the judges' choices. First of all, third place, Ed Pete, Sunset After the Rain.
This is a 5-shot panorama. It was taken from a clone about 300 feet above my backyard. It was also taken the day before the deadline. I was afraid there wasn't going to be a sunset before the deadline. Just before the deadline.
All right. Okay, we have 2 second place. We have a tie for second place. First one is Roberta White, Through the Clouds. And also Jim McDaniel, Sunset at the Coxcomb. Him online? Nope. Okay. So neither of those are online. We'll move on to first place, Leslie Eggy. I get that right? Right.
This was taken at Bolivar Peninsula, and early in the morning, and yes, those are ibis flying across. I ordered them to fly across. Anyway, it was fun.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So we're going to take a look at the people's voting, which is here, here, and okay. Through the Clouds, Roberta White for bronze. Silver goes to Dave DeVore, Bitter Lake National Wildlife Refuge Dawn. All right. Yay.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I was standing next to Ty. That's why I got this picture.
What are you doing tonight? He's at home with friends from Kenya. He's a missionary, goes to Africa every year.
Awesome. Okay. Well, good job, Dave.
Thank you.
Right. We have a tie for gold. First one is Jim McDaniel, Sunset at the Coxcomb. Okay. And Leslie Eggy, Sunrise Flight. Fantastic. All right. So we're going to move to advanced now. We have 11 images in advanced. And our survey, take our survey here. If I can do it correctly tonight. Okay, we've got morning after the storm. We have, sorry about that. Sunset on the city from the park. Evening view from Tracy Arm, excuse me. Joy in the Golden Wave. Oak in Golden Light. Dawn of a New Dynasty. Pinks, Blues, and Reds. Mount Scott Vista. Sticking the Landing. bridge over troubled waters, and feather and flame. And let's see. Judges. Morning after the storm.
That's mine. Great title. Colors are dark and moody. The hint of morning is great with the light orange. The ripples of the orange drawing the eye to the sun is outstanding. The details in light and dark is great. What really can find? Looking at the only thing for technical is it seems to me like the horizon seems to be a little bit tilted higher on the right side. Beautiful capture, well done.
Onward to sunset on the city from the park.
So this is a cool city scene for this entry. What I'm drawn to most and stands out to me is this really great S-curve you get from the path to the bridge. It really draws the eye across the image twice. And so I get to travel and see the whole image. It's technically razor sharp. The color palette is really broad and colorful, and I like that a lot. The theme is present. That is golden hour. You can see on a couple of the buildings. They're lit by the side. It's a little bit yellow. For me, I would like to see a little bit more presence of the theme, maybe a bit more saturation on the yellow, or even if there was a chance, and I'm not sure it's possible, to have caught the golden hour light on the bridge itself and on that arch. It's so front and center, and I'm looking at it, and I kind of wish it had the theme just right there baked into the dominant subject of the image. I mentioned it being sharp. It's sharp everywhere, and there's a lot of texture in this image, from the mown lawn to the rocks along the path and the water to the lines on the bridge. It's hard to see on my screen, but the phone lines on the right side coming off the bridge. And I wonder if the image could be simplified a little bit. The clouds also add a lot of texture. So I wonder if a different day where the clouds were smoother or fewer maybe would take a little bit away and soften the image, but that may just be a personal preference idea. Another opportunity that could be interesting is the foreground is largely empty with the path, and my brain keeps wanting to see something on the path to give a little bit of narrative to the image. So if somebody had been caught walking on the path, or I don't know, a dog running loose, that could have been an interesting element. But overall, it's a very successful, very strong image. Great job.
All right. Evening view from Tracy Arm.
All right, this captures a lovely Alaskan landscape, but I think that a cell phone simply doesn't do the vast scene justice. The final image feels a bit flat to me, lacking sharp detail throughout. While the clouds spilling over the mountains up here, it adds a great mood to the image. The sensor just doesn't have the dynamic range, I think, to capture that detail. I'm guessing that the picture may have been taken through an airplane window or something, just from the angle, and that there's it looked like there were maybe some reflection artifacts visible in the image. I think that could really elevate this was using a camera with a larger sensor on a tripod, stop down some so you have everything in focus. But if this was taken through a window of a plane, then none of that would be possible. So it's a nice image. I just think that a cell phone doesn't capture it as well as other technologies would.
Right. Onward to Joy in the Golden Wave.
I love the light in this image. I love the way the wave flows. There's a whole lot to look at here, from the sharp water droplets to the shapes to the really contrasty, almost two-tone color palette, the blues and the greens, to an absolute image of joy on this child's face. I mean, that the title is great. The kid is obviously just blissed out, and that's really awesome. It fits the theme. We've got the yellow light on the kid, but also lighting up the wave itself, and that glow is really clear and really pleasing. I see two images here, and I think that's super interesting. As a sort of candid portrait, I think it's really strong. Really shows the child advantageously, really happy. It's engaging, and I like that. I mentioned earlier liking minimalism in photography, and so I played with what if it was cropped almost to like a 4x3 vertical without the child in it, and suddenly we have almost a blue and green yin yang with this white foam in the middle, and that's a pretty cool picture too. I'm not saying it's a better picture or that it should be done, but it was just interesting to see the left half of the frame or left 2/3 of the frame give this real simple image that's just about the abstract shapes and colors. And I think each of those is a really effective image. So great job to the photographer.
Oak in Golden Light.
This one. Interesting photo. Like the oak in the early morning fog, the detail in the flowers in front and the detail in the shadows in the back. The tree being highlighted from behind holds my attention. Those technical details. Looking at a photo, a few suggestions. Wish there was a little bit more space. With the mom arthros, wish there was a little bit more space above the tree. Then one is to flip the picture where the negative space is to the left to have your eyes stop on the tree. Two, maybe a crop to a square. The three, the two sunflowers in the front foreground. There was an interesting discussion on that part between a couple of the judges that leave them there, or is that having my eyes focused on that instead of on the oak tree. So it's either, I guess it would be your personal preference to either crop them out or remove them. Then fourth, the fog is a little bright, possibly there. Maybe bring that down, the highlights, so you could bring some of the highlight, bring the clouds, make the clouds more prominent in the background. Great picture, well done.
Right. Dawn of a New Dynasty.
This early morning image of a regal lion cub is really well composed. The dynamic pose really shows the feeling of movement, and choosing the low camera angle so that it's at eye level works really well here. And just the whole way it's exposed really works, because you've got the early morning sun on his face and chest, and that puts a lot of the rest of the image into deep shadow. So it really draws attention to his face. And that light, even that you end up with the catch light in the eye, it's just really composed well, and that you really have eye contact with this future king or queen of the jungle. Another thing that really works well here was, I think that it's a long lens so you can get close, but I think it stopped down a little bit so that you get a very good depth of field. This cub is in sharp focus from the tip of his nose to the end of his tail. And sometimes with these long lenses, you have a problem getting the whole body in focus. And this one is really done well that way. And then the background just goes to a very smooth bokeh because it's further back. So I think that technically the way this was shot was all done just perfectly. And it's a really nice image.
Okay. On to pinks, blues, and reds.
So this is beautiful. It's amazing color palette. I love the softness and the pastels, and then the juxtaposition of the bright red on the sailboat. The sharp triangles in the sailboat really help grab the attention for both the boat and the reflection, which offsets the fact that it's smaller than that really huge iceberg. And that's a cool juxtaposition. Compositionally, I think this works really, really well. I mentioned the color palette, but I'm gonna say it again just because I freaking love it. It's so pretty. The scale's great. You can tell that the iceberg's in the background. It's further back, but it's still so big. And that becomes a little bit of that story for me, a little bit of that conversation. And that's really cool. A couple of technical suggestions. When I really zoom in, the big iceberg is not quite in focus, but the boat is tack sharp. And so I wish there was a little bit more depth of field, or maybe some post-processing could be done to sharpen the iceberg. The two smaller pieces of ice in the foreground are also a little bit soft. But because they're right front and center, my eye does go to them. And then I kind of wish they were a bit sharper too. These are really minor things. But a slightly larger opportunity is everything about this reads as sunset more than golden hour. There's no gold. It's not, I don't see the yellow of the sunlight at all. I can tell the sun is very low. You see it shining on the side of the iceberg. But either this was shot after sunset and we're kind of getting closer to blue hour, or the post-processing chose these beautiful colors that I agree, I would choose them too. It is a little bit divergent from the theme of the contest, and so minor, but those are the only things I could think of to make suggestions on.
Okay. On to Mount Scott Vista.
Beautiful capture. The depth of field that's got everything in focus. The detail in the shadows and highlights is great. The golden rock catches my eye. The composition has my eyes flowing from the rocks, circling around the circle, following the mountains, then into the center of the lake. Beautiful clouds with colors. Technical thoughts. One, to me, the photo would be major improved if it was flipped. It was hard for my eyes to follow in the photo. Maybe maybe tone down the golden highlights on the rocks. My eyes goes straight to it. That seems to compete with the lake holding my attention. And the sky, maybe get a little bit more pop. But great capture, well done.
Next we have Sticking the Landing.
Can't be me.
We may have confusion about who owned the critique on this image.
Make something up.
I'll do it. I'll remove it. Let's go.
I cannot.
You cannot, for questionable reasons, mysterious reasons. Very cool, very graphic shot. The bird is striking. It's powerful. It demands attention and keeps my attention really, really well. The bird being on the left and then looking down to the right keeps my eye in the frame very effectively. I mentioned liking minimalism. I'm gonna repeat myself all night. I like what I like. It is a real simple image without a lot of competing elements. It's graphic and bold and about what it is. I mentioned theme adherence on other images, so I'll say it here too. There's a hint of yellow on the bird. It's very subtle and hard to see. So for the theme of the contest, I'd like to see that be a little bit stronger and a little bit more apparent. And I'm going to disagree with myself now. The top right 30% of the image is totally empty. And while the bird's framing and shape and direction of looking keeps me in the image, that empty space could be used. So if there is, I don't know, a silhouette of a bird in the background flying or a small cloud, something to leave that not empty, that might be an opportunity, but then that gets away from what I like about the graphicness of the image. So I'm not sure I agree with that. But like other strong images throughout this contest, it's hard to look for suggestions to make on an image that I like this much. Great job.
Okay. Moving on to Bridge Over Troubled Waters.
Okay, this is an excellent example of using a long exposure to smooth out the motion of flowing water. This is a 10-second shutter speed, which rendered the water into a silky smooth curtain. That's a very serene effect, which ironically, I feel conflicts with the troubled waters part of the title. Just that smoothness doesn't say troubled to me. The bridge itself isn't, I don't think, particularly interesting architecturally, but it is a center point of the image and really anchors the image. There are things that I would like to be able to see, but probably aren't feasible. All the water is in the shadows. And so if it was possible, if the sun, 5 minutes before was hitting the water too, I think that could make the image a more powerful image. And in this case, I feel it could be cropped down from the top a little bit and focus more on the bridge and the water, and that just plain blue empty sky may not add to the image as much. But overall, it's a nice way to get a good image with this subject when you're there. If you didn't slow down the shutter speed and have that interest in the water, it would be less interesting than it is now.
All right. And finally, Feather and Flame.
Okay. That's me again. I guess we got that other one switched out. Okay, so this is a lovely waterscape that has so many things going well for it. And it uses a lot of silhouettes, which also works really well here. The reflection of the sun on the water really is just a beautiful color. You've got the, I guess, mist coming off the water that is lit up a little bit, that gives some depth between the water and the I don't know, reeds or grass behind the tall grasses behind it. And that creates a nice separation. Then you have the light hitting the top of the grasses, which makes a very interesting, an interesting pattern that gives you that depth and the pattern throughout the image. The fact that the birds are silhouetted just against the water, none of them are going against that dark background, so it makes just everything stand out so well. The one thing that I think could help, or maybe two little things that could help here, in the top corner, there's some light of the sky past the trees or something. I wouldn't necessarily crop that out because I love the where the tops of the grasses are, but maybe you could clone that out so that you just had the very dark all the way up, not having a little light spot up in the corner. And another thing that you might do just to really make this a super clean image is there's some stuff floating in the water, maybe feathers or leaves or whatever that are kind of blurry in the front. Some of that could be cleaned up just to make the image just have a cleaner feel to it. But there's, yeah, I think that this one really works well, and it's just capturing exactly the right time, so that you don't end up with a bird half with being in front of the shadows or something, that it just really makes it stand out well. And the bird is in very good, the flying bird, which I think is one of the main subjects here, really is the main subject, is in a very good position, in the third intersection and with a lot of space to fly into. So, very nice.
All right. So we're going to pop out of here and check the judges' results. First off, we've got, well, a tie for first place. We'll start with third. Feather and Flame, Cheryl Cowan. We'll talk about it? No, nothing to say? Border Patrol, right? Border Patrol. Yeah. Where'd you take it? Where'd you take it?
Muskie.
Oh, awesome. Bosque del Apache is a great place to go. If you're a bird person and haven't been, you are missing out. I think it's fair to say. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, awesome. All right. Second place, Cody Addison, Oak and Golden Light. And so, Cody, we know Cody's not here, right? Okay. We have a tie for first place. First of all, Patrick St. Cyr, Morning After the Storm.
Well, so this is what you do on a cruise for 19 days is take pictures of sunrises. And
He says the microphone doesn't work?
Hold it
that
close to your
microphone
mouth.
doesn't work? Oh. Here, I'll try another one. Okay, does this one work? I can hear it. Okay, so this is what I did on a cruise for 19 days, was to take pictures of sunrises. This was somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. I'll tell you what, sunrises in the Pacific are much nicer than the Atlantic. Yeah, we had I don't know, it's about 6 o'clock in the morning or something like that, and it's actually, this is a section of a panorama that I shot. So, thank you very much. I'm happy I made it.
Yes. And also first place, Dawn of a New Dynasty, Stephen Burkich. Have fun.
Well, I could say this screen does zero justice to this image because it does not look that dark. This was taken in Zamanga in South Africa. Jim and Nick are behind it. They're holding it up.
Wow.
But no, I did. I stopped down to get the dynamic range and all that, and it was, as the sun was coming up.
Was this on the trip you just got back from?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
So I think I got, I don't know, a couple of thousand of all these cubs the whole time. Not as many as them though, because I don't have pre-capture. So.
Awesome. Well, not too bad. All right. So let's see what the people had to say. And bronze goes to Dawn of a New Dynasty. Silver goes to Pinks, Blues, and Reds. Nick Grossman is here tonight, back from his world travels.
Traveling with Jim and Steve. This was taken in Greenland in August last year. Yes, it was golden hour. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. Taken from the hotel balcony after a few glasses of wine when someone noticed that Daniel Corden's red sailing ships had appeared.
That's the microphone which doesn't
It
hear.
was golden hour for about 5 hours every morning and every evening. The sun never got higher than about 30 degrees. It was really quite extraordinary conditions and a beautiful place.
Awesome. Right. And the People's Choice Gold goes to Feather and Flame. The people like the birds, Cheryl. Awesome. All right. Congratulations. Well, Shirley didn't talk about it. You already didn't talk about the picture. Anything else to add? Oh, take it away. All right. Cool beans, people. Awesome. All right. That concludes advanced level for our judging tonight. All right. So, judges. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to put in a few words here. First of all, Cody's going to, I think I'm wired up, right? I'm just loud anyways. I know that. So Cody's going to need judges for next month. All right. So we want to encourage you to participate in that. We all know this monitor is not the best monitor, right? Okay. So we're hoping that you're looking at these images at home and maybe sitting with them a little bit and kind of thinking about them and getting some thoughts around them before you do your actual sorting and choosing in your people voting. All right. But that still applies to participating in doing this job here. So come along. Everybody has something to share and perspective. I find it incredibly illuminating because they see things I don't see. They have perspectives I don't have. And so I always find this a very educational experience, even though, as you all know, I'm always willing to share an opinion, right? Okay. I always have one willing to share, but I like hearing what other people have to say too, because it informs me. All right. So you have things to share. I want to encourage you to share them. All right. So please consider volunteering to do a judging stint next month or the month after. If you've got some time, it'd be great. I think that's all we have to say tonight on everything. Keep a lookout for the 5th Thursday get together with a social time. Might involve beer or something. I don't know. We'll find out. Like that. Next, in 2 weeks, I will be talking about editing focusing on masking in Lightroom. My focus is short and quick, getting things done. I've got some tips for you on how to get that to happen, to bring your images to life and elevate them a little bit, but also not spending a lot of time on an image because I know a lot of people don't really like to do that. So we want to kind of keep those thoughts very focused and get things accomplished quickly. I want to talk about that and do some demonstration on how I go about doing that. I've been trying to do some things differently, changing my workflow up, and I'm hoping that this will help you in your work and kind of think about how you can do things and get things done. So I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks, and I thank you again, and y'all have a great evening. All right? Cool. Awesome.